Are you tired of paying rent? Are you wondering, will I ever be able to own the property I live in? Well, the good news is yes. The way the property market is poised at the moment, it is possible for you to buy the place you're living in or one identical to it, and your monthly costs are almost exactly the same as your rental. My name is Neil Forster from Target Properties, and recently we held a webinar where we discussed exactly this. We went into great detail to show you as a tenant how you could transition from being a tenant to being a landlord. In the webinar, we discussed the following topics. We looked at ownership at the same monthly cost as renting. We looked at purchase deposits. We looked at the numbers involved. In other words, I did the monthly expenses of renting versus owning. I then discussed how to find a suitable property, and then how to pay the correct price. It's essential that you don't overpay, but you as a tenant, you need to work out what is the right price to pay. We discussed making the offer, how to protect yourself when you made the offer to purchase, and then how to get bond finance. That's critical. And lastly, we discussed your transition, how to arrange your transition from the expiry of your current lease to the occupation of your new property. And then we finished with a very fruitful discussion. We spent about 20 or 30 minutes answering questions. We had an open chat box, and the delegates could answer questions. And we had some interesting questions. There was one question I couldn't answer, actually. They really stumped me. They asked me, what is the most valuable lesson I learned in property? And I was like, wow, I don't know. I learned so many. And then I slept on it, and I want to just tell you now, today, I want to answer that question. The most valuable lesson I learned in property happened when I bought my first house and I converted my garage into a cottage. And it was a double garage at the back of the property. And I spent at the time, it was in the 90s, I spent 15,000 Rand on converting the double garage and the old maid's rooms into a cottage. And I started renting it out, and my daughters were in nursery school at the time. And I realized that investment of 15,000 Rand, the rental paid for my daughter's school fees. And it paid for both of their creche fees, and the next year the rental went up, but so did the creche fees. And I realized, hang on, this little investment, this cottage I've got in my garden can pay both my children's school fees all the way through school, because the rental's going to go up as their school fees goes up. And that was what really sparked my interest in property. I thought, hang on a second, there's this thing called annuity income. What is that? And that's the biggest lesson I've learned in property. So for those of you who asked me the question in the webinar, I've just answered it. Just to get to the costs involved, the delegates had to pay 385 Rand, and we are making this, the recording of the webinar, available to you. The details are below, the bank details and so on, for an admin fee of 200 Rand. Pay the 200 Rand, send us a proof of payment, and we'll get a copy of the webinar onto you. And while I'm speaking to you, I just want to invite you to subscribe to this channel. You know, don't only subscribe to the channel, but go and look at our channel. And there's lots of useful information there. And in Target Properties, on our YouTube channel, we talk both to tenants and to landlords. So go and have a look, help yourself, learn, and I'll see you in the webinar.